Hello, everyone. This is Big Dan with Southern Xtreme Sports Talk. Just wanted to come on here and we're going to talk a little bit about some college football quarterback rankings today. Um, just to get started, doesn't involve every quarterback. It'll just be kind of a quick, just to update quarterbacks kind of in the top 25. Won't be all 25 of them. Most of them will be relevant to the top 15. Anybody that through the season each week, I'll give a quarterback ranking rating, show y'all kind of where they're at on the rating system, completion percentages, things of that nature, touchdowns, stuff like that. I'll keep you updated on them. But anyhow, you're the best quarterback right now. Just to give you a quick rundown, the top 25, we're looking at, the AP. Texas is number one right now. We're going from week 3 to week 4. We're coming into week 4 games. Today's date is the 19th of September. So we're going into the 4th weekend. Texas is ranked number 1 by the AP. We'll do that. We'll go by the AP until the college football rankings comes out later in the year. Georgia's 2, Ohio State 3, Alabama's 4, Ole Miss is 5, Tennessee is 6, Missouri 7, Miami 8, Oregon 9, Penn State 10, USC 11, Utah 12, Kansas State 13, Oklahoma State is 14, and Oklahoma's 15, and then LSU is 16. So we'll just kind of do that top 15 or 16 there. So Texas is playing real good ball. Quinn Ewers just got hurt this past weekend. I think he's kind of day to day. They'll play ULM this weekend. So their odds are they'll play Arch Manning, give Quinn a rest, let him get caught up. I hadn't read either way. I just read that he's day to day on Quinn Ewers. Now Arch Manning, of course, he blew it out. He looks phenomenal. So I'm pretty sure Quinn's going to come back as quick as he can. But anyhow, both of them are doing fantastic as far as rating goes. Now Quinn, he falls in there about 9 on the list, but Quinn Ewers he's 50. He's thrown for 691 yards. He's got an 8.7 yards average per completion. He's 73.4% completion rate right now. He's got a 175.2 rating. So that's where he falls. It's about 9th on my list. That teams that are relevant that'll have a chance at the playoffs. So now your next team is going to be Georgia. They're second in the AP. Now their quarterback is Carson Beck. So he was kind of listed as the odds-on favorite, I guess, coming into this year a little bit as the Heisman candidate. But he just got jolted from Kentucky a little bit this past weekend. But anyhow, Carson, he falls within, I don't know, here's his stats. He's got 680 yards he's thrown for. He's averaging 8.3 yards per completion. His completion percentage is 68.3. His rating, he's thrown for 7 touchdowns. His rating is 166.1. And he's about 12th on my list as far as his stats go. But the team as a whole is a solid team all the way around. They'll catch back up. Kirby Smart does a great job coaching, so they'll be in the hunt all year. But they got a tough schedule. So anyhow, The third team the ranking is Ohio State. Their quarterback is Will Howard. Now he falls on my list around number 11. He's just behind He's just behind Kyle McCord actually, but he's 35 of 54 for 520 yards, 9.6 yards average per completion, and then he's 64.8 completion rate. And then he's got a 170.2 rating is where Will Howard sits for Ohio State. So he's new to the Ohio State system. Plus, Ohio State had Chip Kelly come in as a new offensive coordinator. So they're kind of working a new system also. So I look for them. I mean, they're not doing bad. Of course, they hadn't played no tough competition yet. But they'll get better as they go. They got a stacked team, so they'll be there at the end. And then now fourth on there is Alabama, and they're looking pretty good. They just played Wisconsin this past weekend, beat up on Wisconsin pretty good. Now Jalen Milroe, he runs the ball a lot also, so his numbers he's 35 of 52 for 590 yards, 11.3 yards per completion is his average. He's 67.3% completion rate, and his rating is 213.4. So he's doing pretty good. Now, he runs the ball a lot. So his overall, let's see what his overall, because he is averaging, let's see, on the ground, he's rushed the ball 36 times, which he's run it more than any running back that they have on their team. He's run it for 156 yards, and he's got 6 touchdowns on the ground. And then he's thrown 8 touchdowns through the air. So he's 14 touchdowns complete for the year. Now, the next one is going to be Ole Miss is 5th. It's tough on these ratings, but anyhow, Ole Miss is pretty salty. They're gonna be pretty tough. Now their quarterback, he's number 1 on the chart for everything right now, just about. He's 73 of 88 for 1,172 yards. He's got a 13.3 average per completion. He's got 83% completion rate. He's thrown for 8 touchdowns. His rating is 222.6. So he's pretty solid across the board so far. Of course, they hadn't really played a whole lot of competition. Now, what we'll do is we'll look at their schedule real quick. As far as Ole Miss goes, I know they'll play LSU about the 5th or 6th game of the season. Let me see what they have beat Furman 76-0, Middle Tennessee 52-3, and Wake Forest 40-6, which all those teams are not real good. So we'll get a better gist when they start falling into the SEC play. Of course, they'll play. Let me see. This weekend coming up, they'll play Georgia Southern. Then they play Kentucky, South Carolina, and then come October 12th, they'll be at LSU. Then they play Oklahoma, Arkansas, Georgia, and Florida. So their big 3 games, really. South Carolina's going to be pretty tough. South Carolina's tough on defense. So their big 3 games is going to be LSU, Oklahoma, Georgia. I don't really think Oklahoma's going to be able to do too much with them. The big two, I guess you could say, is going to be LSU and Georgia, with Georgia being the big game for them. So they don't have a rough road, really. They play Kentucky right before South Carolina. So Ole Miss is primed to have a great season. So they'll be there at the end. They got a tough team. I see them probably having a shot at the SEC championship. But anyhow, we'll Jackson Dart, he's rolling. He should keep his stats up there big time. But anyway, we'll get back to that. So Jackson Dart, let's see who we got. Sixth on the list is Tennessee. They have the new quarterback. He was a freshman last year, but he didn't play last year till the very end. But anyway, he's a good quarterback. Tennessee's solid on defense, and they doing great on rushing. But Nico Lamaleva, I believe is how we pronounce it. But anyway, he is 48 of 67 for 698 yards. He's got a 10.4 average per completion, and he's 71.6 completion rate, percentage rate on completion. Then he's thrown for 6 touchdowns. His rating is 182.7, so he's 7th on my list. So he's doing great. He runs a lot. And they have some good running backs too. I think one of their running backs is probably one of the best in the country, which I'll do. I'm going to do a deal on the running backs after this next week. I'll have a show on running backs. But I was trying to see what we could do here on Tennessee. Let's see here. All right, now their running backs. Let's see. Nico has run the ball 17 times for 102 yards and a touchdown. But their top running back is Dylan Sampson. He's run the ball 45 times for 357 yards and 9 touchdowns. So of course, they've been blowing some people out. But anyhow, they got a great defense though, and then they're well rounded. Tennessee's going to be there at the end also. They're going to give Georgia a fit. I'm going to tell you. I think it's going to come down between Georgia, Tennessee, and Ole Miss and Alabama there at the end, competing for the SEC championship between them 4 teams. We'll see how it works out. That's the fun of it. But anyway, Tennessee's going to be super strong. But anyhow, we'll go to the we're going to go to the next one here. That's where he lands at pretty good. Now, Missouri is 7th, of course. Just with that said, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 SEC teams in the top 7 right now in the AP. Ohio State's number 3. That's the only other team. But anyhow, we got Missouri coming in at 7. Their quarterback is Brady Cook. He's well balanced. He runs the ball a lot. I think he's run for 4 touchdowns. And also he is on the passing part. He is 69 of 97. He's thrown it a lot. 720 yards. His average is 7.4 yards average per completion. And then his completion percentage is 71.1. He's only thrown for 2 touchdowns. His rating is 138.2. So he's down the list on the rating wise, but they have a pretty good complete team. But I don't think they're quite there as far as being the they'll be close, but I think at the end of the day, they're probably going to lose a little bit to be able to make the playoffs. But we'll see. That's the fun of it. Next team is Miami. Now, Miami, they picked up Cam Ward. He transferred in from Washington State. That was an awesome pickup for them. Cam Ward is 65 of 89 right now for 1,035 yards. His average is 11.6 yards per completion. His percentage rate is 73. He's thrown for 11 touchdowns. His rating is 209.3. So I got him at number 4 on my list. And Miami will be there. I'm looking for Miami to win the ACC. They're pretty strong, pretty tough on defense too. So the next team is going to be Oregon. They're number 9 on the AP ranking right now. Oregon's been kind of trying to find themselves, really. I think they had a pretty decent weekend this past weekend with Oregon State, but out of the Pac-2 there. Anyway, Oregon's quarterback is Dylan Gabriel. He's doing awesome. He's 79 for 94, 914 yards. He averages 9.7 yards of completion, 84% completion rate. He's thrown for 6 touchdowns. His rating is 186.8. So they're going to start hitting some little tougher teams coming up during conference play. So, but I look for Oregon to be there at the end, just see how it shakes out with all the other teams there. I think they'll be battling Ohio State to see who wins the Big Ten. But anyhow, that's where he sits. He sits at number 6 on my list. Dylan Gabriel for Oregon. Now he transferred in from Oklahoma to Oregon, so that's how they sit. So our next team is number 10 is Penn State. Penn State's quarterback is going to be Drew Allar. He's doing pretty good. They didn't play. They was off this past weekend, but he's 24 of 37 for 420 yards, 11.4 yards per average per completion. Then he's 64.9% completion rate. And then he's thrown for 5 touchdowns, and his rating is 199.4. So he's rated up there pretty high. He's number 5 on my list. So that's where they sit. Penn State, I don't think is going to have it. But we're going to watch them and see how it plays out. Excuse me. But that's him. He's sitting pretty good. If they can hold up, they might stand a chance. But I don't know. It's going to be tough with Oregon, Ohio State, and some other teams in there. Now the next team is 11 with USC. USC had a big win against LSU early on. Their defense looked much improved from last year, which that's what they needed. They have a good quarterback in Miller Moss. Now Miller Moss, he comes in. He's 48 of 66. He's thrown for 607 yards. He's got a 9.2 average per completion, 72.7% completion wise. He's thrown 2 touchdowns, and his rating is 160. So Miller Moss was just sitting there behind Caleb Williams, and he's now it's his time. So they look pretty good. If they can keep that, keep up and keep playing hard and stay away from the injuries. At USC, there'll be another one in there fighting with Oregon and Ohio State, but I don't think they quite got it hanging there with all of them. I think the defenses are just too good for Ohio State and Oregon. But we're going to see how it plays out. And then we got Utah is next, is 12th. They'll probably win the Big 12. They're currently 3-0. Now, their quarterback, Cam Rising, he got hurt. They had another young man quarterback. He's doing pretty good. But Cam Rising, his numbers are real good for what he's played. He's 18 for 29 for 346 yards, 11.9 average, 62.1 percentage rate on completion, but he has 7 touchdowns. His rating is 241.9. Rating wise, number wise, he's number one, but he's hurt, and I don't think he can keep that rating with the completion percentage. But anyway, when he comes back, we'll see. Hopefully, he'll get back fast. Next team is Kansas State. They're 13th. Their little quarterback is Avery Johnson is his name. They're real excited to have him. Now, their quarterback, Will Howard, he's the one quarterback in Ohio State. He transferred to Ohio State. So, Avery Johnson, he was recruited, come in last year. He sat behind. So this year, now, he's doing a lot of learning stuff, but he's doing good. He runs the ball a lot, too. He's 43 of 67 for 490. He's got a 7.3 average per completion. He's a 64.2 completion percentage. He's thrown for 6 touchdowns. He's got a 152.2 rating. And also on the rushing aspect of things, he's rushed the ball 28 times for 187 yards. But he don't have any rushing touchdowns, but he runs the ball. He's the second leading rusher on Kansas State's team. So, but they'll be up there fighting. They'll probably be the ones fighting with Utah for the conference championship, I think. But we'll see how it plays out. And then now next on the list is going to be Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's defense is a little suspect. Now, they got a great offensive line, and they got a quarterback about 40 years old, but I'm picking when I say that. He come from Texas Tech, Alan Bowman. Now, he's currently 75 for 112 for 967 yards. He's thrown the ball a lot. He's got an 8.6 average, 67% completion rate. He's thrown for 8 touchdowns. His rating is 159.5. So that's where Oklahoma State sits. He don't really run the ball a whole lot. He's only run 7 times. Their big running back is that Ollie Gordon for Oklahoma State. He's got 4 touchdowns so far. But he's a war horse. He's carried it 62 times. So that's what they lean on with that big offensive line they got. They run the ball a lot. But defensively, I think they're going to give up here for long, I believe. I don't know if they can hang in there. But if they do, it'll be between them, Kansas State, and Utah. That'll probably be the ones in there. So the next one on the list is Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma, they have a big game this week. That's the big game for this week. Tennessee's at Oklahoma. So I think Tennessee's going to beat them up pretty good because Tennessee's defense is just pretty tough. And they're well-rounded offensively and defensively. They've done an awesome job. They picked up that big 5-star offensive tackle from LSU, Lance Hurd. So he shored up that offensive line, and they're doing good. They're running the ball awesome, and they're passing awesome. So that's why I look for Tennessee to beat on Oklahoma this week. But anyhow, Oklahoma's quarterback is Jackson Arnold. He's a freshman. Now he's 54 of 86, 484 yards. He's only got a 5.6 average. And his completion percentage is 62.8. He's got 7 touchdowns, 132, 132.3 is his rating. So he's down there on the rating board. But he runs the ball a pretty good bit too. He's, I'm trying to look real quick because I won't have my running stats till next week. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's see here. But he had a stellar game this past week. But anyhow, I got it up here. He's the leading rusher on Oklahoma. He's run the ball 36 times for 159 yards. He's got 2 touchdowns. So that's good and bad in a way when you're the leading rusher. But anyhow, that's where Jackson Arnold falls in. But I think they're going to take a beating this week. That's just what I'm thinking. But anyhow, the next team on the 16th ranked team is LSU. Their quarterback is going to be Garrett Nussmeier. He throws a lot. He don't run much. Now he's 81 of 116, 895 yards. He's got a 7.7 yard average. He's completion percentage is 69.8. He's thrown 10 touchdowns, and his rating is 159.6. So he falls in at number 15 on my list there. So we'll see. We'll follow these quarterbacks. As the quarterbacks go, kind of the teams will go too. But they got, that's where your well-rounded teams come in with great defenses. That's the ones that's got a decent offense with a strong defense. They're going to be the ones up at the top. But anyhow, that's where we're at this week. And then a couple other one other one, or a couple other quarterbacks. I'm sorry, I throwed in on the list. Of course, they're probably not going to be in the playoffs, and I know one for sure ain't. Shedeur Sanders for Colorado. He's 85 for 121, 999 yards. His average is 8.3. His completion percentage is 70.2. His rating is 160.8. He falls 13th on my list. He's thrown 9 touchdowns. So he's saying he's going to be in the top 5. I don't see it. I don't even see him being taken in the first round, really. You got Quinn Ewers going to come out. Dylan Gabriel's going to come out. Cam Ward's going to come out. Jackson Dart. Jalen Milroe's probably going to come out and go in the draft this year. I mean, all these quarterbacks of course, Carson Beck. He's a lot better quarterback, I think. But we'll see how it plays out. That's the fun part, but that's where he sits. And then a fun one, just a fun stat I thrown on here. He's doing good. Kyle McCord, he left Ohio State and transferred. He's at Syracuse. At the end of the day, I don't know how Syracuse is going to end in the ACC, but they'll end up pretty good. But he's doing good. He's 59 of 85 for 735 yards. He's got an 8.6 average, 69.4 percentage completion, 8 touchdowns. His rating is 170.8, but he's ranked 10th on my list. But he's doing good, so it's kind of a fun one to watch, see how he progresses and does through the year once they start playing some better competition and going. But anyhow, I appreciate it. If you would like and subscribe, and catch me next week. I'll have the college ranking, the quarterback rankings for next week. And I'll be pushing out some offensive and defensive ratings and everything here on my next episode here tomorrow. But anyhow, thank you very much, and catch you next week. Bye-bye.